Well, it's a new year. I'm fully back at work myself. I don't know about you. You may be in your job search, but it's time to really get going on this thing. And I have a gift for you. This is my free gift to you to jumpstart your job search. Stick with me. If we haven't met before, my name is Jason Roberts. I'm a recruiter. I've been a recruiter for 25 years. And I spend my time on this channel helping people like you find jobs. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you to do all the YouTube things, hit like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you can see content like this whenever it's available. All right, let's dive into my gift to you to jumpstart your job search for this year. And it's this. I want to give you agency. I want to give you agency, permission to take charge. That's what this is. What do I mean by that? I hear from lots of people all the time that this job search, these companies, they're not seeing me for who I am. They're not following up on me. They're ghosting me. They're not treating me the way I should be treated. I hear lots of stuff like that. And I hear a lot about they. I hear a lot about them. I hear a lot about the other guy that's a part of this job search, but I don't hear a lot about what each of the people that are commenting should be doing differently. I don't hear a lot about you when you're in your job search. And the reason is these job searches, they can make it feel like we're not in control. It can feel like we don't have agency. They can make it feel like we're completely dependent on someone else for what's happening in the job market. And I want to give back your agency to you. You are in charge. You're in charge of your own job search. That's right. You can't make a decision on whether or not you're hired. You can make a decision on how you follow up on every job. You can make a decision on whether you have a conversation after an interview or not. You can be a part of how many resumes you send out and are you sending resumes to the right places. You can be a part of whether you get ghosted or not. Did you know that? That's a big deal. People are like, oh, I got ghosted. They never got back to me. Well, guess what? I bet half the time that people get ghosted is because they were applying for jobs that they weren't qualified for. And they get upset because they spend a lot of time applying for these jobs, but they don't think, oh, wait, the chances that anybody's going to get back to me on this are pretty slim. Nobody wants to call me about this job that I'm not qualified for, right? That happens all the time. So I want to give you agency and put you in charge. Now, how do I do that? How in the world am I able to put you in charge of the job search? I'm going to tell you how to take charge. I'm going to tell you how to grab agency. Agency was there. It's always been there. It's there for you to take hold of. You can do it. It's for you. All right. So here's how you do it. The first place that it feels like you lose control is in not hearing back from someone when you've applied to that job. Now, here's how you take charge of that. And I would only do it on jobs where you think you're an absolutely great fit. If you're an absolutely great fit, you do this. All right. The way that you take charge is that you research who the hiring manager is for that job. Now, how do I know who the hiring manager is, you might ask? Well, I can tell you. Inside the job description, you go pull up that job description. Inside that job description, there are little clues. This job reports to so-and-so, reports to the head of the widget department, reports to this group. It's a part of this group. Sometimes they'll even tell you all about that group, what that organization is like and what people in that organization do. And you can search for on LinkedIn people with the same title that you have and see who they're connected to. They're typically connected to their boss. So what'll happen is when you're on their profile, it'll say, people also talk to this person. And it'll be a person like them with a slightly elevated title. And you can pick that out. And you can become a detective to figure out who these people are. And you can take charge of whether you're ghosted or not, because you can take charge of whether you reach out to these people individually or not. You take control. You know there's a job. You missed one window. Let's see if there's somebody left that back door open, right? It's yours. You get to have that agency. I want to give that to you. That is my gift to you right now. All right. You have permission to reach out to someone about that job. It's very normal. People do it all the time, but less frequently than you would expect. And as a result, it can give you an advantage. All right. So that's the first place. The second place where you can take agency is the interview process. It may feel like, oh, I'm not in charge of the interview process. They tell me where to go and who to meet with. True. That is absolutely true. They tell you where to go. They tell you who to meet with. But then you can build momentum from one interview to the next. When you talk to the recruiter, that's always the first interview, right? When you talk to the recruiter, you ask them, where do I need to go next? What's the next step in this process? And they say, oh, well, you'll need to talk to the hiring manager next. Perfect. When does that happen? That happens in a week. Great. And this is where, again, you get to take control in the ghosting thing, right? You get agency here. Where can I contact you if I don't hear from you in a week? And whoa, deer in headlights, but you've already got their email. You've got permission to contact them. And you email them the day after they said, every single time you send that email. You have permission. They've given you social permission. If they don't fulfill on their side of the deal, then you get to go call them on it. You get to ask them, hey, how are things going? I thought I'd hear back from you by now. But then you ask them about the hiring manager. Oh, I need to talk to so-and-so hiring manager. Tell me about this manager. What do they really care about? Is there a part of the job description that they really emphasize they care about more than another part? Is there something that's really important to them that's their biggest problem they need to solve? And you get a feel for how you can address the biggest problems that hiring manager has in the next interview. When you get to that interview, that's exactly what you do. You address their biggest problems. But then you ask the same questions. Well, what's the next step? Oh, I need you to talk to Billy and Sally and Sam. Excellent. I would love to talk to Billy and Sally and Sam. Where do they fit in the organization? Who would they be people that I support? Are they people I work with? Are they my peers? I don't know. Where do they fit in this organization? Oh, well, Billy's the main customer that you have, and Sally is your peer on this thing. And okay, well, what's Billy's biggest concern? How can I help Billy the best if I do this role? What's missing in the current one? And what do they really like from the person who was doing this job before that I need to make sure that I'm able to address? So what you're doing is you're using each interview to gather information. When they ask you, do you have any questions for me? Which they always do. You ask them what you need to know in order to be prepared for that next interview. My gift to you is agency. You can take control of this interview process. You've taken control of the application process. You're now in control of the interview process. The last piece of this gift that I'm giving you is the offer process. There's two stops on the offer process, the verbal offer and then the written offer. The verbal offer starts with, hey, you're pretty far down the road. We'd like to talk to you about salary. What were you thinking on salary? Hopefully you haven't had to answer this question up to this point, but this is where you negotiate. I don't know. Do you have a range for this job? Oh, it's between $100,000 and $140,000. Perfect. I can work for $140,000. And you just lay that out there. You just give them the top number. You give them that number, and that's what you're shooting for, man. That's the number that you hope for. Okay. So 140K. And they say, all right, that's the top of my range. I don't know. But then it becomes on them to tell you why you don't qualify. And at that point, the recruiter really wants you to have the job, and they're the ones you're negotiating with because they don't want to start all over with the interview process again. So you're in a very, very good negotiating position when you get to the offer. You have great agency in the offer process. So take charge of that freaking thing. The next thing you do is always ask for a sign-on bonus. Okay, now that we've talked about salary, let's talk about a sign-on bonus. I'm going to be leaving this on the table. I'm going to be walking away from this bonus. I have a promotion that they told me I have coming up, and I'd be making this much more money. Can you help me with a bonus, a sign-on bonus to help bridge the gap that I have here? You should always ask for a sign-on bonus. Usually it's a toggle, yes or no. And it's super easy to get a yes on sign-on bonuses. Try to do that. The next one, by the way, I've earned my keep. If you get a sign-on bonus, I want you to leave something in the comments and tell me so, because I want to celebrate with you. That'd be awesome. Okay. The next piece is they go and get a written offer. When the written offer comes, you're out of time to negotiate, right? They've gone to figure out everything they can give you based on what you asked for. And that is your time where your agency ends. You've done everything you can. And it's time for you to you get to decide Your agency exists here on, is this a job that I'm willing to sign and say yes for or no for? All right. And that's it. This is my gift to you. You are in charge. My gift to you is agency in the job search process. My gift to you is you don't have to feel helpless, that you can feel like you were in charge when you didn't feel in charge before. I wish you the very best of luck in your job search.